That's yours. I've been trying to give it to you. Yeah. I'll tell you, we do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has. We just ran sand through the bus. Hey. Get on that. We did. Rode the sand through the bus. I rode the back seat, he rode the seat behind me.
Well, I got a cord today.
What are you doing today?
I got some cord over here.
I get food, we got them no marketing, more spread out. Order the Barren County Fiscal Court. It's 9 a.m. April 19th. Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Jeff Bott.
Here.
Kim Taylor.
Here.
Mark Melvin.
Here.
Ken Sargent.
Here.
Here. Mike Taylor.
Here, thank you. To adoption of today's orders, we need to add a few things. First will be the quarterly financial statement ending March 31st, 2022. That is subject to audit, and that'll be for the sheriff and the county. We just received our flex agreement from the KYTC yesterday, so we need to add that. Then also an ambulance service report, and that will be given under the judge executive's report. So I'll entertain a motion to add those for today. So moved. Second. Houchins, questions? Favor say aye. Aye. All opposed. Invocation, Mr. Houchins, you are in charge of that today, sir.
Yes, Mark's going to do it for me.
Okay, let's pray. Our dear kind and heavenly, loving Heavenly Fathers, we come before you at this time. We ask that you be with us today as we conduct the business of the county, and that all things, all decisions that we make are pleasing in your sight. And we represent our county and our constituents, and that we are public servants unto them, and that we're good stewards of the finances that we've been blessed with. Be with our county. Many families are still in need, still suffering. We also ask that you be with our nation and other countries, especially the people of Ukraine. You put your loving arms around them and protect them, keep them safe. And Father, we do pray for peace for in this world. We are so thankful for your son, that precious blood that he shed on the cross, and the cleansing power that it has. And it's by his power and his authority, in Jesus' name that we pray. Amen.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome everyone here this morning. Taking time out from Barren County Fiscal Court. Court, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes March 15th and March 18th, 2022.
So moved.
Houchins.
Second.
Second, Master Bowman. Questions? All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed. Announcements will be a dual committee meeting directly following this meeting here. Reports, I'll start with my report. Okay, so those of you know, we had a former judge executive to pass away. We have done a memorial resolution on his behalf. For the life of Freddie Lynn Travis, age 87, passed away Friday, April the 8th. He was born in Glasgow, Kentucky. The parents, Forrest Lynn and May Lynch Travis, survived by his wife, Carrie Sue Oliver Travis, son Scott, wife Lisa the daughter, Lynn Travis Luttrell, husband Wade, grandchildren Rick Travis, Carly, Alex Travis, Rice, Kyle, Travis Littrell, Shelby Todd Littrell, daughter-in-law Diane Bonite, son Luke, preceded in death by his parents, brother Robert Samuel Bobby Travis, son Todd Oliver Travis. Whereas Freddie was elected to serve his country, commissioned into the United States Marine Corps in 1957, ultimately achieving the rank of captain. Following his time in the Marines, Freddie returned to Glasgow to return to his family business, the Ideal Hardware of Glasgow Trading Center, which he ran alongside his dad and brother from 1960 until 1997. And whereas Freddie's extensive involvement in the community, including serving as president of the Junior Chamber of Commerce, president of the Glasgow Barren County Chamber of Commerce, chairman and co-founder of the Industrial Development Economic Authority, chairman of the Glasgow Independent School Board for 16 years, member of the Western Kentucky University Board of Regents, chairman of the WKU Glasgow Advisory Council, director of the College Heights Foundation, New Farmers National Bank, several other bank boards. Whereas Freddie serves as Barren County Judge Executive from January 1992 to January 2003. Upon his retirement, he continued to involvement in various boards and community organizations. And whereas throughout his life, Freddie was instrumental in seeing many projects come to fruition for his community, the benefits of which will be reaped for many years to come. Freddie gave freely. His time, talents enhanced the lives of fellow citizens. Freddie was a friend of many and will long be remembered as anyone who had distinct pleasure of knowing him. And as we pause to reflect, let us remember that the life is but not a stopping place, a resting place along the road to sweet eternity. And we as a community can honestly say, we've been truly blessed in the presence of Freddie Travis within our community, our lives, our heart. Now, let it be resolved, the Barren County Fiscal Court on behalf of the citizens of Barren County, Kentucky, that we embrace that family to show our support and love in this untimely day. Adopted on this day, the 19th, April 2022. I need a motion to adopt?
I'll make that motion.
Second by Master Coomer. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. Okay, so is Krista still here? She leave? She's still here. Okay, can y'all grab her real quick, please? We've been working on some grant opportunities. Obviously, we have to have board approval to move forward on those. These grant opportunities are with Congressman Guthrie's office. And we have worked with his team to put together a series of grants that we feel that may work. The grants.
Yes.
Yes, so, correct. So, Chris, if you could explain those, if you'll come up to the mic, please, and then we can roll all those into one, or we can do individual, however you want.
So Senator Guthrie was looking for some innovative projects for his committee and subcommittee requests, and worked with Kylie Fouché on a few of the projects that have been talked about in the past and needs and kind of some of those dream projects for the community. One of them was a special needs post-secondary facility where students who age out of high school have other options besides adult daycare, which is a wonderful place to go. But this is a place where they would learn skills and perhaps even be able to get a job when they wouldn't otherwise. One of the other ones was the Trojan Trail Bridge and the turning lane. That I think that one's been in play for quite a while, or been needed for quite a while. It's never been in play because the cost estimate I had, 249, yes. The cost estimate I had was from 2016, so I had to work with the transportation cabinet to get that updated. It's a bigger project now, like everything else. So we asked for 2 million for that one. The other one is an addiction recovery center. Apparently we have a house in Glasgow for addiction recovery for females. We don't have a male addiction recovery. And Fuller Counseling has been working on a plan for this for a while. So I helped them put together a plan to get a house for addiction recovery for some males in the community. They do not administer medications. They do it all through counseling, and they don't substitute one substance abuse for another one. I just had a really good time learning about that project. So if you all have any questions, I might or might not be able to answer them without contacting someone else. But these are pie in the sky projects, which is really cool when those come through. So
Is the addiction faith-based?
yes,
Addiction recovery is faith-based?
it is. The fellow I sat down and talked to, he was a recovering addict, and I think he very dedicated. He said, look, in the next 5 years, I plan on having a full in-house inpatient addiction recovery facility. And I was like, okay.
He's
When
currently,
you get old, good Lord.
Yes.
yeah, he's
absolutely.
currently working through River Lake Church. He also goes to the jail to do, talk to those inmates as well. So, yeah. So, if we can move forward on this, I entertain a motion. Forward on
I make that motion.
Dickerson,
Second.
Master Riddle, questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed. Thank you. Okay, next we added the ambulance service update. Director Joe Middleton and his team are here today. So Joe will take just a few. Well, he's getting it uploaded now. Good.
Judge, thank you so much for the invitation. We greatly appreciate any opportunity to get out and talk about the EMS and the evolution of the EMS over the past many years and how the ambulance service has changed more recently. I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Joe Middleton. I'm a paramedic. I've been with the ambulance service since 1994. I just finished my 28th year. Along with that, I'm also a licensed nurse practitioner with a doctorate in nursing, and I did my doctoral capstone project in quality improvement and quality assurance. With me today is Assistant Director Garland Gilliam. He is our Chief Operations Officer. He is a paramedic. He is a graduate of Eastern Kentucky University with a Bachelor's of Science in Emergency Management and is currently finishing up his master's degree in emergency medical services. Also with me today is a new addition to our team, Mr. Sean Estes. He is the Assistant Director and Chief Financial Officer. He is a graduate of Western Kentucky University and has a bachelor's degree in accounting. Mr. Estes comes to us with many years of accounting experience serving as the controller for a large organization in Warren County, and then spent over 10 years on the foreign mission field and returned to this area last summer. Again, we're greatly appreciated to be here today. I would like to extend a personal word of thanks to our setting board of directors. That setting board of directors are represented by Barren County by the judge, also Mr. Fay Neal and Mr. Jacob Barren. They are very instrumental in providing insight and direction, along with oversight and helping with maintaining a mission and maintaining a vision. The taxing district, thank you for the taxing district first. And secondly, I'd also like to thank the taxing district themselves and their membership, because we work directly with them to ensure that the tax dollar in Barren County is maintained and used in wise and efficient manners and never overused or abused. I'd also like to thank the court, because if it wasn't for the court, over the many years, as the ambulance service was a line item in the court budget and then moving to the taxing district, that has been very beneficial and has enabled us to be able to explore, entertain, and develop projects. Also, a word of thanks from the employees. The first round of our ARPA bonuses have been distributed. They were distributed in March, and we're looking to do the second round in July, the third round in December, just as the court had dictated. Next slide, please. When I first took over in January 1st of 2020, what do you do when you first come to an organization? The first thing we need to do is we need to assess it, evaluate it, and not make any drastic changes. See where the needs are, and then follow through with that plan in those areas. Next slide, please. Part of that assessment and evaluation, we looked at staff, we looked at the fleet, we looked at how dollars are spent, and the number one objective that we had was to be able to provide the best patient care that is possible to the citizens of Barren County. And one of the things that the board tasked me with is to operate this organization as a service to the community with a business mind. Because for so long, there have been, the ambulance service has struggled financially, but the ambulance service has continually worked to provide the best level of care that could be provided, but there have been some financial hardships. Next slide, please. We looked at the safety factors and how best to accommodate what we're doing and the mission that we're tasking. If you notice on this slide, it's difficult to tell, but this slide in comparison to our other units is a bigger box. It's larger capacity on the inside so they can hold more critical patients. We also increased the electrical system on these trucks to where they actually will power more equipment. Historically speaking, those critical care transports, we were dependent upon someone else to come into Barren County to make those runs. Through this advancement, we have increased our run volume and taking care of our own local patients with improving the equipment that we're using in providing that service. We also changed the graphics pattern. The graphics pattern actually predates me. That was done by Director O'Neill, but his mindset in that matter was, we're trying to develop something new. So let's start that by making it visible to the community that we're doing something new. Next slide. Visibility is very important to us, which has increased the lighting, the striping, and different mechanisms that we can be seen, not only that we're participating in community events, but more so the safety of our employees so that the ambulance collisions are very detrimental. So trying to do everything we can to improve safety and to improve visibility. Next slide, please. This shows you the patient compartment of the ambulance. In that transition, there's more cabinetry, there's more availability of equipment. Some of the upgrades that you can see some of those in this photograph, some of the upgrades you cannot. One of the things we did was we went to the power load system, which the stretcher is actually setting on the power load system. That power load system prevents our employees and back injuries from actually picking up patients and put them in the back of an ambulance. We utilize the power cot system, which is rated at 750 pounds. We've had those upgraded to complete XPS technology so that they are true bariatric stretchers. Unfortunately, in today's society, our patients are a little larger than they once were. So in order to accommodate that, we've added the lift systems, we've added the stretchers, and we've added the attachments to ensure the comfort and the care of our patients. We upgraded all of our LifePak 15s. We were using LifePak 12s, which are cardiac monitors. We upgraded all those to LifePak 15s. So every ambulance has a new LifePak 15 in that. We have the Lucas chest compression devices. They provide 100% adequate CPR 100% of the time. When we attach those to the patients in full cardiac arrest, and they provide perfectly efficient chest compressions every time. And with the integration of that, our success rate and recovery of spontaneous circulation increased 14% just from not having them to having them. We upgraded all of our ventilators. We now have ventilators, which are state-of-the-art ventilators. They are Reveal brand ventilators. We maintain 2 Allies and 2 Reveals. We have just recently upgraded our laryngoscopes to a true video laryngoscope. So we maintain the old laryngoscopes. We also have video laryngoscopes, and through a grant, we're adding 4 more today. So out of these projects, the power load, the power cot, the LifePak 15s, the Lucas device, and the video laryngoscopes have all been paid for through grant possibilities at no cost to the service or to the taxpayer. Next slide, please. A very, very important component to that service-oriented business mind is our financial position. Where we were then, where we have come to today. Next slide, please. December 31, 2019, close of business. Our operational budget was $4.8 million. Our total collections year to date was $1.8 million. Our total expenses were $2.3 million. At that particular time, cash on hand in the checking account was $227,000. The following week that I took over, we had a $90,000 payroll that was getting ready to happen. At that particular time in life, the ambulance service was required to maintain a $100,000 line of credit. That $100,000 line of credit was there as a safety net to ensure that we could always pay our employees. If that was ever tapped into, then it was to pay that back down. And then that way, that credit was always there to ensure that we paid our employees, because our employees get paid every 2 weeks. Year to date, total money received December 31, 2019 from Barren County taxpayers was $253,000. Moving into 1 month, next slide, please, which was January 31st of 2020. We still had the same operational budget, of course, that wasn't changed. Total collections were $2.09 million. Total expenses were $2.75 million. Cash on hand increased to $466,000. We still had to maintain that line of credit just as our safety net. Total amount of money received from Barren County, $340,098. During that time, the accounting practices we used was the ambulance service always operated behind the proverbial light bulb. What we did was we covered the expenses. Then at the end of that month, we closed our books and we sent out a bill to the partners, which is Barren County, Metcalfe County, and TJ Sampson. TJ Sampson is a partner, and they help offset the cost of operations in both Barren and Metcalfe County. So that's where we kind of started with. That's where we were in shortfalls, and that account would drop low. Next slide, please. Close of business January 31, 2022, which is the most recent numbers that have been approved by the board. Our budget has increased. Cost of doing business goes up for all of us. 5.2 million. Total collections has increased 2.3 million. Our total expenses, we've seen a little increase in total expenses, 3.069 million. We currently have $377,857 in our day-to-day operating account. In cash reserves, we have over $1 million. So from January 2020 to January 2022, we went from $300,000 in the bank to 1.3 million in the bank. Total expense received from Barren County, $370,800. Next slide, please. This gives you a comparison view of where we were and where we are today. We no longer require to keep that $100,000 line of credit as a safety net. So that is one advance that we have been able to make in the financial realm.
Excuse me, I have a quick question.
Yes, sir.
Last year or 19, what about 21? What did you have on hand? Cash on hand last year?
Cash on hand, January.
January 20, you had that?
John, do you have that number?
December 20.
December 21.
No, it'd be December of 20.
December of 20, 949,000.
What's your total collections for that period?
Total collections for that same period. Total collections 1.669 million.
Thank you.
I have those numbers here, Mr. Dixon, but Sean's following along.
Just
so we
got
can get
past me,
those
I
numbers.
saw 227,000 cash on hand, December 31st, 1.3.
Yes, sir.
Numbers weren't exactly figured out.
I had a question too.
Yes, sir.
Our contributions,
Next slide, please.
2000, you got that? Because I think you left that year there too.
If you look at total contributions 2019 to 2020 with an operational budget of 4.8 million, Barren County taxpayers contributed $634,306. This year, with an operational budget of $5.2 million, the Barren County taxpayer will pay $635,622 in the system. How am I projecting that? Because what we did was, historically speaking, it was a roller coaster of what we were receiving from the partners. What we did was we changed the way we wrote the budget, and we wrote the budget, and then we did what's called revenue-based billing to the partners. So we received from Barren County a set amount of money every month instead of following that roller coaster. This way, the taxing district or the fiscal court knows exactly how much money is coming into the service every single month, because one month there may have been $30,000 paid into the system. Another month there may have been $80,000 paid into the system. And being business minded, how do we prevent that roller coaster? So we will receive $635,000 from the taxing district this year, no more. That we have to maintain our budget, and we have to ensure that we do not exceed that number. Even with the increase of the operational expenses and the budget itself increasing by around $400,000, the Barren County taxpayer over that time frame has only increased their contribution by $1,300. And that is, we are working to find partnerships. We're working to find other avenues of income, which the old income system of we'll collect what we can collect and we'll pass the rest to the taxpayer is not an effective way of doing business. So that is one of the reasons why we are constantly exploring options and working to improve our financial position. Next slide, please. Because the money that comes from the taxpayer is difficult to come by for the taxpayer. And so we want to acknowledge that, we want to recognize that, and we want to be very invested in how we spend that and how we manage that money. Next slide, please. What other things have we done to try to make the service better? How do we improve things? We've improved our educational components. Education is paramount, because one of the things that I tell our students is When I come to pick you up, I'm only required to know 80% of the material to pass the test. When I come to get you, which 20% is not important at that time. So we always constantly train, we constantly educate. We're constantly working on avenues to develop advanced skills and advanced and invasive technology. We were able to have what's called a cadaver lab last fall. That's actually where we brought in 2 cadavers and we were able to practice and perform surgical and invasive maneuvers so that when it comes time in the field, it's not the first time someone's picked up a scalpel to perform a surgical airway. We have done that time and time again so that when duty calls, we can perform that task without a second thought and without a second attempt, because we want to be very proficient in how we do things the first time. Our ultimate goal, again, is to ensure that we're providing the highest level of care possible. In the education and training, we developed the position of a field training officer. That field training officer is responsible for all our new hires, all of our orientations, all of our field internships, and all of our preceptorships. They also conduct on-shift training. So every day there is a training module that the FTOs are providing to improve what we're doing. We've implemented a full sweeping quality assurance and quality improvement plan. We are constantly reviewing the care that we're providing, and then we're using that assurance to make sure that we are providing an optimal patient care, and then developing trainings with the FTOs to provide quality improvement. So this is a constant circle. We're evaluating, we're training, we're implementing, we're practicing, we're evaluating, we're training, we're implementing, we're practicing. So that's a constant circle. We talked about the larger trucks and improved equipment. We now have at least 2 critical care paramedics on every shift. Currently, that is the highest level practitioner for paramedicine. And with that, those patients are being transported with 6, 7 IV medication drips, balloon pumps, ventilators. So we are providing the same level of care that would be provided in the back of a helicopter. The only difference is they have a helicopter, they're a little quicker, but we are providing the exact same level of care that is provided in that arena. Higher level of care, better patient care leads to higher levels of reimbursement. So we're providing the optimal patient care so that we see that on the backside. Some of the dilemmas with billing is with the Medicare and the Medicaid dollar. We're on assignment. So even if with a Medicaid patient, even if that bill is in the $1,200 range, we agree to accept Medicaid and Medicare assignment for that exact run. That the Medicaid assignment is $110 plus mileage. So we've expended $1,500 of ambulance service funds. We're collecting $110 plus mileage. So that is kind of where the disparity is, because greater than 60% of our pay source is CMS or Medicaid and Medicare due to our population and demographics. Next slide, please. One of the other things we're very concerned about is our community involvement and community awareness. We do have downtime in between runs. So during that downtime, we try to use that to be progressive, to be seen, and to be useful in the community. We want to improve our community involvement. We want an increased presence at public events. We want the public to see what is offered and what is being provided. We want to serve as a community partner. We want to provide community education. Community education is being provided by first aid, CPR, different courses that we're working to implement and increase. COVID kind of slowed us down on that stuff, but now we are resuming those operations and increasing the classes and the trainings that we're conducting. We've also developed an EMT training program, so we're now training non-licensed people who are coming into the profession. The judge's office, along with workforce development, has been a major partner in this, and a lot of funding to offset that expense has come from workforce development. So at this point, the EMT program, and as it progresses, we're looking to make that another a revenue stream, so that we have no loss, no expense. Well, that also helps us with our hiring pool, because we're training the pool of candidates that we're hiring from. The last 2 classes, we have hired a large percentage of those employees that we've trained. And our goal is to invest in those and move those employees to a full-time position and further on to find avenues to train our existing staff as paramedics to further evolve and implement the level of care that we're providing. Next slide, please. Some of the partnerships that we've had in the past have not been the most ideal partnerships that we could find. But that is something that the majority of us in this room inherited. So it was my responsibility, my goal to make the best of it and move forward with that. Next slide, please. We currently operate our headquarters station, 703 East Main Street. This station was built in the mid-'80s. We have outgrown this station. This station holds 4 ambulances and it's designed for 2 crews. We also have all of our administrative offices in this building. This building was built with grant money back in the 80s and has been remodeled multiple times over the last 30, 20 plus years. This building is old, it's antiquated. Mr. Box has been in a few times, and the state that this building is in is not the best state in the world. So we've got to look at options. This particular property is landlocked. We cannot expand the property, and if you'll notice on the left side of the drive, it's just a massive drop off. The biggest caveat to this piece of property is we built the building. We do not own the ground. The ground is on a long-term lease from the Glasgow Electric Plant Board. If this building ever fails to operate for the purposes of emergency medical services, the property and all improvements report back to the ownership of the Glasgow Electric Plant Board. Next slide, please. This is the airport site. It's located right at the entrance of the Glasgow Airport. We occupy at that line this way. That building was actually designed to house 1 ambulance and one on-duty crew. We currently run 2 crews out of that, and this vehicle sitting outside, there's a vehicle that sits outside there at all times. There's a vehicle that sits outside at headquarters building at all times. We have a minimum of 2 to 3 vehicles at all times that sit outside, $140,000 vehicle with $150,000, $160,000 worth of equipment in it. So again, we need to explore options. We need to figure out what we can do. There have been discussions in the past about us occupying this entire building, remodeling it, and moving all EMS operations to this building. Any changes we make to this building must be approved by the Glasgow Airport Board. The ground this building sits on is owned by the Glasgow Airport. The service constructed this building and bonded it through the county, and the ambulance service is responsible to pay for this building. For the last 13 years, ambulance service has been paying about $3,600 a month for this property. And at the end of that bond and lease agreement, we have to negotiate with the airport board to maintain our existence in this building, because the ground and improvements revert back to the ownership of the airport board. At the point that this reverts back, we will have well over $1 million in this building for building it, upkeep, and expense. One of the things we're looking at now is the helicopter side, where the hangar and the crews live. The air handler, as one of the air handlers that went out, and we're looking at a $2,500 expense to repair that. So we're working on that, and we've had conversations with the airport board, and at this point, they're just not interested in investing any money in this building. So where does that take us from there? Next slide, please. We did a feasibility and accessibility study, had many discussions. What do we need to do? Where do we need to move the ambulance service? And how do we need to best facilitate our own needs? If you'll notice, over the past many years, we've invested a lot of money in other people's property. We've not to invest much money in our own future. We purchased This property, this is on 6880, the Hardys and the old Tobacco Warehouse Foundation. Our property line is this piece of property. We follow straight back to that fence, and then that fence on the backside. So that piece of property is what we purchased. We purchased 5 acres plus or minus. The service itself made the down payment out of our cash reserves. And the service itself is making the payments on this property until the next budget year. In the next budget year, we will expense this property out across the partners. This property, it would cost $400,000 for this piece of property. We leased it, I'm sorry, we financed it for 30 months at 1.25%. With our cash revenue, we did not want to expend all of our cash revenue and put us back into the position of where we're going to make our next payment. So we maintained our cash revenue other than the down payment, and we started buying some CDs. We have money on investment at 1.27% interest, and we are financing at 1.25% interest. So we're going to use cash flow, cash revenue our plan is to pay this property off over the course of the next 30 months. Then next slide, please. Then we move on to planning and construction. Through this project, we are looking for any partner that wants to partner with us to offset this expense. When I first started evaluating properties, the first thing I did was I started contacting potential donors in this area, community partners who have donated to other entities, other nonprofits, and other educational institutes. It's a rough year. Not a lot of people have extra cash to donate. Not a lot of people want to donate property when real estate is high as it's been in my lifetime. So we had to make this decision to move forward with this purchase of this property so that it sets us up to have a building constructed so we have a home to move to prior to the end of our lease agreement, and not investing more money in a building that doesn't need more money invested in. Setting on properties that we don't own.
Can I ask a question, Joe?
Yes, sir.
Was that land appraised before purchase?
Yes, that land was appraised. That land was surveyed. We went through all the processes that you would have bought if you had bought the property yourself.
I was just kind of surprised at the appraisal, I guess, the value, but I know land's high.
Well, we did purchase 1.37 acres of commercial road frontage with direct access to 6880. One of the issues that we found, because we have been looking for over a year for property on Veterans Outer Loop, that's going to provide us the best proximity to the hospital. That's going to provide us the best proximity to the parkway, to Highway 90 to get to that side of the county, and we have the loop to circumvent all of Glasgow and also provide optimal coverage to backup coverage to Metcalfe County. So we needed to be on the loop. Well, the access to the loop is very restricted. Basically, what we were told was the agricultural accesses will not be upgraded to commercial accesses, and it's very difficult to get commercial access on the actual loop. And the properties on the loop were very, very expensive. I mean, we're talking over $1 million. Most of the properties that we looked at, there was one similar property that was about 3 acres. It was $275,000, but we could not get road access. So we opted to come off of the Veterans Parkway just a little bit, but still ultimately have the same access. So that's where this property came in.
So you will not have any access to Veterans Loop?
No, sir. That is correct.
With the purchase of 5 acres, how much room is that going to give you for potential growth if needed down in the future?
The building that we are currently speculating and looking to design would be able to house a minimum of of 10 ambulances and 6 to 7 crews. We're currently operating 4 crews in Glasgow. So my goal is when we design a building and we move into a building, that building is going to take care of the service for a minimum of 20 years. Then the footprint of that building is going to be designed for expansion and for potential add-ons. And we're going into it oversized.
So basically what you would be doing, would be consolidating the 2 locations.
Yes,
703 East Main and also the airport location.
that is correct.
And then at this location, you'll have room to house, what'd you say, 6 ambulances?
But it would have the availability to house 10 crews 24 hours a day.
And-
Now,
and one of
through expansions and phases.
them with the helicopter.
We are in discussions.
The helicopter pad would be located there or not?
We are in discussions that the helicopter could potentially, we would have a landing area there. And we're in discussions about the future site of the helicopter and its crew.
I guess my follow-up question would be, would it not be more efficient for all be there? Or not?
In my opinion, it would be more efficient for all emergency medical services in this county to operate out of one location. That would be both ground and air. I guess to answer your question, we are currently negotiating and looking for partners to offset our overall expenses. So we would entertain the idea of similar organizations and similar entities leasing area from us.
TJ gonna give you financial help to you guys?
TJ Sampson is currently providing 20% of expenses.
How about that?
They are currently providing 20% of everything. So Mr. Bowman, to answer your question, we are exploring every option we can to get as many partners on that property to offset the expenses where we can offset the expenses.
Well, unless I'm missing something. And I don't think I am. I think a helicopter pad needs to be there too.
I do not disagree with you. They currently lease. The current situation is the helicopter leases from Barren Midcap EMS the space they're in. We, at the airport, correct. When we turn that over to the airport property, the airport property over to the board, the airport board would then be entering into negotiations or lease agreements on whether they stayed there or not. We are also having discussions because we need to know if we need to increase our footprint to accommodate their crew and their aircraft. But I support completely the movement of the helicopter to the EMS property. But there's several keys in that lock.
I think there's certain guidelines they have to have before the location.
The location would be acceptable to the FAA for helicopter operations. So I've basically thrown a big snowball at you with a whole lot of information in a very short period of time. Judge, thank you so much for the time. I greatly appreciate it. I know there's a lot of questions, there's a lot of concerns on the ambulance service. And I know that historically speaking, there have been discussions and possibilities of the county removing the responsibility of the ambulance service from the taxpayer. With the current plan that we're on, if we can maintain what we're doing and keep moving forward, my ultimate goals are partnerships, finding avenues, revenue streams, and other options for income. And I am a Barren County resident. My ultimate goal would be to reduce the dependence of this service on the tax dollar. What questions do you have of me? Your honors, thanks so much, Judge, appreciate it.
Thank you, Joe. Appreciate y'all coming by. Okay, before we get out of the report, those that are running for office, we have begun mowing our right of way. We will be collecting your signs off the right of way, and they'll be at the transportation department. So just wanted to let you know, we're not going to run over them, not going to destroy them. Move on to the sheriff's request, purchase order for a new server.
Good morning, Court. I have one item on the agenda. The last page, Squire, is the total. That is a computer server that we purchased in June of 2015, which our computer maintenance company Cornerstone has told us it is dying out. It's about to quit. $7,800 is the total for the machine. I have spoken with the treasurer, and there's funds adequate to pay for this machine. So therefore, I'm approaching the court for a PO to move forward on the replacement side.
Make it motion. I second the motion.
Houchins, second by Bowman. Questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Also, we need to, the quarterly financial, which we added to the agenda. That's 3/31 of 22, subject to audit. Need a motion to approve that.
Make a motion.
Riddle. Second. Second by Box. Questions? All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Okay, solid waste. Give your report, please.
I just wanted to report on cleanup week this year. We've had a great turnout. We actually did more tonnage this year than we did in the past. I'd like to say thank you to volunteers that we had come out and help with cleanup week at some of the sites. We had several volunteer firefighters from East Barren that helped. And also the jail crews were able to come out and help us as well. That was greatly appreciated by the community. We did 177.7 tons of trash this year.
Questions? Okay, thank you. County treasurer, we need to request to authorize a new bank account for the economic development grant and authorize payment of claim for the Patcha Park project.
Motion, Judge.
We have a motion by Dickerson,
Second.
second by Bowman. Questions? All in favor say aye.
Yes.
All opposed? Committee reports, transportation, Master Houchins.
We met last Friday. Kenneth and I, Tim had to be out of town, his wife was sick. And first item we got is adoption of a portion of private road for school bus turnaround off 1297. I'm gonna let Mark tell you about it. He's been there more than I have. I've been there a couple times.
Okay, first of all, this is in District 5. The location is now 1297, approximately 7.8 miles out. Met with the Transportation Department, really chairs that committee a couple times. And then we've also met with Barren County School Board, and Bud Terry's here today. And I'd like to ask him if he would kind of give his thoughts on this, and then also they've had some dealings with this location too. And then I'll discuss this more.
What we have done there is that, familiar with that, go down a hill and around the curve, and this private road where several people live on. And then from the other side, coming back towards Glasgow, we also go down the hill again, rock cliff. We do have, a car traveling 55 miles an hour takes them 200 feet to stop. They're paying attention to all this. As we know, speed limits have gone up quite a bit in the last number of years. And what we have there, we had a incident recently brought it back to mind was we had a bus stop on the heading west, dropping off students. A car coming east had stopped with us like it needed to with a sign. And a truck came around the curve, saw it, knew he couldn't stop, got off in the ditch. Lucky he didn't have a major accident. Sight vision's about 380 to 85 feet coming towards Glasgow from west, about 495 feet from coming from the other way. What we'd like to do is be able to go up into this private road, you take it into the county, establish a turnaround up there. We've talked with the landowner, and he's willing to provide us area for the turnaround. He already has a nice one there. We get up to it. It's approximately 400 feet up there. At least we need to make improvements to the road because the road is about 10 or 11 feet wide. A bus takes up 8 feet of the roadway. In the last number of years, we've requested in order to travel a county road, we need 12 or 13, 14 feet. So that we meet somebody, nobody has to back up. As you know, we have a law in Kentucky that requires that we run straight tread tires on buses. So if we get off a hard surface, Tim knows we're in trouble. So that's what we're looking at, is being able to do that. What we would prefer, what we'll really need there is it down at the end of the road where it goes into to the highway, is fan it out so that we can get our bus at an angle and get back on the road without crossing into the second lane. We've done that through the years. I know many years ago, we did it down on Jordan Road, down that district, and over an area where we could get into people, to get to the kids, get them off the road. So that's what we'd like to see, improvements made to that portion of the road. It is adopted into the county so that we can get up there safely, get turned around, and then get at an angle to get back on the road. Have questions?
So are you saying that the bus is going to be making the same turn out every time it comes out and not crossing the highway?
At the present time, yes, it'd be heading west. In the future, who knows?
It could be. And if I'm not mistaken, what's the time it takes a bus to pull out and straighten up on the opposite side?
Opposite side, if you're going there and it's not got a real, not totally loaded, we're talking 7 seconds. Now, that doesn't seem like a long time, but a car traveling 55 miles an hour travels straight distance in 7 to 8 seconds in a truck.
How much money is the Barren County school system?
We have a state law that will not allow us to do anything. We can't even, as you know, I don't think we've done it the last 2 years now, but for bus turnarounds, we request the county to sometimes provide gravel in those turnarounds because we're not allowed to spend any money. The old state law says we can't spend any money to improve anybody's property. And if we put a 40 feet of gravel in a driveway, they said that improves their property. So that's where we're at there.
Recommendation of the committee.
Yes, sir. And the way we left this at our last court meeting last month was that we needed to have a resolution approving the opening of a county road for public use. And our county attorney has drafted that, and I think everyone should be able to see that. I think it should be in our slide.
That was included, wasn't it, Sherry? Oh, it wasn't. Okay, well, I have it, and I can read it, or in
Sure, go ahead.
Canada, either way.
Or you want? Just let him read it. That'd be good.
Okay, all right. And what it says is a resolution approving the opening of a county road for public use. Whereas Barren County hereby recognizes the necessity of opening a public road at 7806 Old Bowling Green Road, Glasgow, Kentucky, for the purpose of public safety. Whereas there is insufficient visibility on Highway 1297 for bus stops due to the topography of the land and its address, which Mr. Terry addressed that issue. Whereas the address is pickup and drop off location for 7 school-aged children, and that also includes one special needs child. Whereas Barren County school system is not permitted to utilize the existing drive, as Mr. Terry stated, because since it is currently privately owned. Now therefore be it resolved by the fiscal court, the county of Barren, Commonwealth of Kentucky as follows. The county will open a public road, 7806 Old Bowling Green Road, Glasgow, Kentucky. It says approved this day, 19th day of April 2022.
So we need to wait for questions, like.
Well, let me get some copies. We'll go ahead with the rest of his agenda. We'll get some copies of that where you guys can look at it. Chairman, if you want to go ahead with your next, come back to it.
The next item, review and approve bids for specification for the road material and supplies. I'll make a motion that we send it out for bids.
We have a motion, we have a second. Riddle, questions? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed?
And the next item was, we're gonna have this reverse salt auction, KCO. And I'd like to make a motion for Susan to have them, when they do it, they're gonna probably coming up soon, Susan.
You have a motion, second. You have a second by Coomer, questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
And we got some equipment we need to go over. First of all, on the boom tractor, we've got a bill here for $63,84.72. We need to get a PO for, got it fixed.
Make it motion.
Have a motion,
Second.
have a second by Riddle. Questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
So, we got a few more things on this road equipment. Susan, you want to help me with that? I got some figures up here.
Is that all you had on your, for action, Master Council?
Yeah.
Okay, so,
Had to get this road equipment.
okay, so is this just discussion then? But there won't be any more action?
We don't have to vote on anything else.
Okay.
This is just information.
Yes, so we do have one other thing. Okay,
We do, yeah.
I'm gonna refer the other information back to committee. Talk about bid specs and things like that, trade-in values, but you do have one other thing that we do need to take action. Thank you, Mark.
Back in September, you all approved for us to get the truck beds for these new trucks. I got my last truck this past week. Due to price increases from 11,714.80, the truck bed for the contractors bed has went up to 14,400, so I need approval to be able to get that. It is in stock. It'll be 11-foot bed.
So the difference in that price was what?
$2,685.20.
That's extra.
Yeah.
Okay, we need a motion for that.
That's
I'll
just
make
for-
the motion.
Second. We have a motion. We have a second question.
That's just for the bid, $2,000 increase just on the bid.
Yeah. There was an increase on the last two as well.
That's for one bid.
That's the dump bed.
That's the dump bed. 11-foot.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Okay. Everything else needs to go back to committee though. Thank you so much. Okay, Parks and Recreation, Chairman Riddle.
Parks and Rec met this morning at 7:30.
I'm sorry, hold on just a minute. I'm sorry. Trent, I apologize. We need to go back to the apportionment of the bus turnaround. You all have had a chance to look at this. Is there any action on this?
I would like to make a motion to adopt this resolution.
Okay, we have a motion.
Second.
Second, with questions?
Yeah, is Kevin here? I had some questions maybe pertaining to Kevin as far as what the county's responsibility, do we have to, does there have to be a 60-foot easement for us to put in a road of ownership of?
No, not
There's not-
for that.
Okay.
No, any new road that's proposed to be built has to have that right of way. But not existing private roads that's been platted does not require that.
And the requirement of how wide this road has to be, there's nothing.
Now you can take it in as is, or if you need to expand it out, it only pertains to new roads that are constructed from scratch.
Since this is already a private road, that's considered.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions for Kevin? Okay, hearing none. Thank you, Kevin. Roll call vote, please.
Squire Riddle,
No.
Squire Dickerson,
No.
Squire Toomer,
No.
Squire Bowman,
Yes.
Squire Sargent,
Yes.
Squire Houchins,
Yes.
Jeff Bott,
Yes.
Judge Hazel.
Yes, thank you very much. Okay, Manager Riddle, I'm sorry, go ahead.
So the Parks and Rec committee met this morning. I think we had 4 items of, on our agenda. Number 1 was the opening of the bids, drainage, rehabilitation, and the access parking and the practice area for Jackie Brown Park. We had 2 bids submitted, and the low bid for this construction to take place from start to finish was $139,300 by Larry Glass Construction Company here in Glasgow. We had some pre-COVID estimates done by the engineers. This is, that was like $54,000. It did not include practice field, the new practice field. It did not include the new overflow parking lot. So this number is a little higher than what we had anticipated, but we were looking at pre-COVID numbers versus, just like what Susan said, we had a 20% increase on pickup truck. So I think the recommendation of the committee, I think we're all in line to believe that we need to move forward with this. We have a $27,000 grant, which we would need to take $112,000 per se from the general fund to move forward to get our drains taken care of and to add a practice to the parking lot. So I'm going to make a motion that we accept the bid of $139,300 from Larry Glass Construction to do the work at Jackie Brown Park.
Okay, we have a motion, a second. We have a second. Manager Fox, questions?
Yes. This $112,000, is that our budget?
Correct.
Correct, it is grant.
$27,000. We got a $27,000 grant. And I don't know if that's exact. $27,000 plus or minus grant from the land and water grant to help us with this project. So the $112,000 will not be budgeted. That comes from the general fund.
Are we looking at ways to recover that? Maybe increase gate fees or sessions?
Well, we just recently increased gate. Okay. We just recently increased that by $1. I don't know of anything else that we've looked into, Trent, as far as increasing.
In the last 2 years, we through the scheme of things, Maxie and I come up with a sign sales rental out there where we're doing advertisements. It's generating how much, Max?
About $16,000.
It's generating about $16,000 a year. And to help, that was, we did that to help offset the cost of running the park.
I don't know how much more we can increase the gate cost. The long and the short of it is just like, we talked about before, wasn't long ago, we had 400 kids, now we've got 800, right? That's correct. And where's it gonna end at? Sooner or later, we're gonna run out of room. This $139,000 is a Band-Aid, what's coming. I mean, you're either gonna, and I know I got some phone calls about the remark that I made that, you either got to, limit the number of players, or you got to expand the park. Well, everybody says limiting the number of players is not an option. Well, what's the other option is to expand the park. So, you can only fit so many people in a room, and this practice field that we're adding out there is going to help us, but it's not the cure. And the drainage part of it has to be done at some point, because it's in a situation where it is a danger to the people, to the kids that are not engaged in the activities and they're just kind of running and playing. So I don't have an answer for you, Mark. We don't have an offset for this money, no.
ARPA funds are available. You can spend it on youth. You can spend it on youth. So that is an option. That's an option.
But at this point, has that been approved through ARPA?
Nope, it has not.
We're gonna have enough surplus in our budget to cover this.
This is the first I've heard of it, so I have not looked into it.
This drainage, this grant coming out, if I'm not mistaken. When I first came in, it was already applied for and was awarded right after Charles had started this and things like that. So I've kind of came in and picked up the base of it, I think it was a match toward, there's just been so much back and forth on it. I don't really know where the intended money was supposed to come from. I know that we were going to do some of the work ourselves through the road department and stuff like that. Some things has changed. I don't know where to tell you where that can come from. I mean, right now, we did, when I first took over, we did raise the registration fees up. I don't recall what they were before I got there, but I did raise them to 45. We are looking to raise them next year to 50. But now here's what that goes for. It costs me anywhere from $18 to $25 for a uniform to put on that child that Babe Ruth says that we have to furnish. That's a shirt, a hat for baseball players. That's a shirt and socks or a visor for softball players. Then you turn around and you look at the other part of that, $20, that goes toward that insurance and charter fee, which I'll be presenting the other half of that here in the next meeting, because I just got that deal yesterday, for 65 teams. So you're probably looking at another $14,000, $15,000, combined for insurance and charter fees. So that's kind of the basis, what I based it on, is for them to actually play for that. That's what that furnishes. And then Trent has come about when he brought up the advertisement signs, that helps us supplement field supplies, lighting, whatever. We're trying to do all we can to supplement as much money as we can, but there just comes a point where, there can only be so much made before you make, trickle that down to where that costs too much. You go to other places, and I think that's the reason why we're getting a lot of them. Some places $100 to $200 just for kid play.
Well, I'm all about having good ball fields to play in and safe, and do it safely. At the same time, we have to be good stewards.
I understand.
And I think if this court knows me well, and that's one of the first things that I want to ask, is that budget item or unbudgeted item? And this is unbudgeted. So, with that said, then, we have to come up with means to cover that cost.
I understand.
It seems like the best possibility that we have to cover cost this size would be if it could be approved through the ARPA funds, is what I'm hearing. Is that correct? Okay. So how long would it take for that to?
I don't know, the ARPA funds going away pretty quick.
All right, so
Is this needed for the adding the practice field? Is something needs to be done?
That's
correct?
part of the equation. We can pull the practice field off the bids, we'd have to rebid it, just
No.
the original drainage project.
You know, we've been meeting, you asked if it's been needed, that we wouldn't be presenting this if it wasn't needed. I mean, we're dealing with what's the number of people.
Everything. We got $11 million in the bank.
guys, we've got a motion in a second. Roll call vote, please.
Squire Dickerson.
No.
Squire Coomer,
Yes.
Squire Bowman,
No.
Squire Sarton,
No.
Squire Houchins,
No.
Squire Botts,
Yes.
Squire Riddle.
Yes.
Judge Hale.
Yes.
So what do we want to do with the funds that we have we're just gonna send the grant money back? And do what you want to do?
We'll just have to ask and see.
I make a motion, we use the ARPA funds for the remaining costs.
Do we have a motion? I second that.
Second.
I already have a second. Okay, this motion is to use ARPA funds for the remaining. Roll call vote,
From
please.
the grant left, what's left.
Squire Coomer,
Yes.
Squire Bowman,
Yes.
Squire Sarton,
Yes.
Squire Houchins.
Yes.
Squire Botts.
Yes.
Squire Riddle.
Yes.
Squire Dickerson.
No.
Judge Hale.
Yes.
Okay, so we'll move forward here. And I guess we need to take off another $112,000 immediately from the ARPA fund, Chris. Or whatever that is. No,
It was, I think we'll have to get a determination on how much the grant actually covered, because I know it's roughly around 57. And the actual total is 139.
the next,
I'm sorry, Master Riddle, that first motion that you all just had, it was a tie. So it didn't pass. So this motion that you just had to use remaining funds, is that not a new issue? If the first motion didn't pass?
I don't, is it? We start all over?
I think you'd have to start all over.
Just
We'd have to-
Okay,
You'd have to
let's,
start over with the first motion and amend it to,
can I just scratch it, just make a
use
new
ARPA
motion?
funds.
No, the motion dies, so we'll have to have a new motion.
We can't vote over the same issue 3 or 4 times to get what we want. I'm pretty sure I'm right about that on our county attorney.
That is correct. You can't continue to bring
Thanks.
something up, but if it is a new motion with new terms,
Motion you turn.
Need a motion, please? So we can award the bid.
All right, so I guess, we'll take another stab at it here. I move that we, accept the bid from Larry Grice Construction for $139,300 to do the work at Jackie Browning Park, and we use the ARPA funds instead of the, general funds to pay for this.
Okay, we have a new motion.
Second.
We have a second. Roll call vote, please.
Squire Bowman,
Yes.
Squire Sarton,
Yes.
Squire Houchins.
Yes.
Squire Botts.
Yes.
Squire Riddle.
Yes.
Squire Dickerson.
No.
Squire Coomer,
Yes.
Judge Hale.
Yes, thank you.
Can I make a quick comment? Judge? Well, yeah, it's not, never mind.
Well, what we just did?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
I just wanted to make a comment that you'll see, Trent, we've used this money to help the Y. We've used it to help Bunch Center, and the Y is a recreational thing, and I just think it would only be fitting to use it on our own recreational program. Reason.
Sounds good.
Good. That's fine with me.
Okay, next, Lisa Green.
You want me to mention, can I say something about this lease agreement before we start? Or do you want to?
Yeah, well, you go ahead.
The lease
We
agreement. on-
haven't had time to review.
Yeah, well, the lease agreement on it, just so you guys understand, and every lease agreement I've ever been been involved in, I'm the leasing. I think the wording at the very top of it is backwards. This is not my lease agreement, it's something that had been done in the past. So Barren County Fiscal Court would actually be the leasing, and I'll have to get all that changed. So that responsibility, where we were talking earlier in the committee meeting, it will fall underneath the leasing shall provide cleanup maintenance following the use in section 7 of maintenance. So that is reversed. Barren County Board of Education should be the leaseor, and we should be the leasee. So when y'all read that, I'll make sure. I think there was a problem with that in the past. This is just a copy of handed down here. So, but I will, if you want to go along with that, I'll look into that. And get that copy fixed.
Let's just take no action on that lease. We're moving forward. We're doing what we need to do to keep the ball in play. So, let's get that rewrote, get the lessons. School.
It'd be the school board. I'm sure they'll have to approve it just the same as you
You
guys.
and I can stay in contact if they have any problems with it.
Okay.
Get it redone with the county attorney, and then we'll present it next board meeting.
That's fine. Absolutely.
Right. Thank you. We'll move into the ARPA committee. Chairman Riddle.
So the ARPA committee also met this morning at 8 o'clock here in the courtroom, and just walk back just a second and talk about the court approved the $1 million for healthcare workers to be distributed amongst Barren County healthcare workers. There's about 2,100 of them, something like that, isn't it? A little over 2,000 healthcare workers that we received.
Yes, absolutely.
That will receive the funding. TJ Sampson Community Hospital, along with guidance from Donald Rogers, has agreed to administer this, which means that they're willing to take care of all the finances, and we write them a check and then they distribute the check. Graves Gilbert Clinic, all the nursing homes in Barren County, the healthcare workers that work there and TJ will be eligible. There's about 2,000 of them. Now, agreements are all out there. We've got to get the agreement signed with them and pass off the checks, but we're ready. The long and the short of it is we're ready to write TJ Sampson a check for $1 million to be distributed amongst the 2,000 plus healthcare workers in Barren County. And I make a motion that we move forward with that today. We have a motion.
Have a motion? Have a second? Questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
We also have committed $500,000 to education. And so what we decided to do, or what we've been talking about for quite some time now, is put $250,000 into Glasgow Education Foundation, $250,000 into Barren County Educational Foundations for the purpose of grants. So I make a motion that we go ahead and appropriate those funds today, get those checks issued, and get those in writing.
So, we have a motion. We have a second. Questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
All right, thank you guys for that. That's a big one that is behind us. There's been a lot of discussion, a lot of work. And I want to thank TJ for going that extra step to help. Not only are they getting the checks to their employees, they're making sure that Graves Gilbert and all the nursing homes get what's coming to them too. So I want to give them a good shout out. Thank you. The next item we have is underground utilities from Industrial Park, South Cooper. The director of our industrial board, Ms. Carpenter, along with voice and input from Squire Dickerson, believes that we have a lot of interest in some property out there that I've been told. A lot of stuff is being done. We don't get all the information that they have, so that the information stays secure. But it's my understanding there is potential customers coming to town, and we hope that they are. So what we're wanting to do is earmark $1 million of the ARPA funding to help provide the water and the sewer to the South Cooper Park. And so I would make a motion that we earmark $1 million of the ARPA funding.
Motion.
South Cooper Park.
We have a motion. We have a second, but Master Coomer, questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Nonprofit sectors, we talked about two of them this morning. We have several nonprofit entities in our county. We talked to YMCA, they had a request of $325,000. It is of the opinion that we provide them that $325,000. And I would like to make a motion that we fund that.
We have a motion. Second. We have a second by Mr. Botts. Questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Fund Center also had a request. The request was $400 and some thousand. We're gonna have to circle back on some of that because we don't know everything there is to know about it. What we decided in the meeting this morning was to go ahead and award the Bunch Center $100,000 and to take care of some of their needs, and maybe we circle back and fatten that up a little bit later on. So I'll make a motion that we give the fund, that we distribute $100,000 of the ARPA funds to the Bunch Center.
Have a motion. Have a second. Second. Mr. Dickerson, questions? All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed?
That's all we have. Well, let me go ahead and say this while we talk about it. We do have I got some information from the water company. I didn't realize we've got a lot of areas in Barren County that are unserviced areas as far as water goes. We had some of those folks here this morning that brought some of their water up that they've been bathing and drinking and giving to the kids and grandkids. It don't look too good and it don't smell too good. It's sulfur water, it's well water, and those are things that a lot of us were raised on. But there's a better way. I know when we talk about there's big movement to high stream media for everybody. Everybody should have internet access and ways of communicating. But the bare necessities are first, and this 9,500 feet of water line to access areas in our county to people that don't have water in rural corners and parks. This is important to me as anything that we've discussed. They're taxpayers, they live here in Barren County, and it's unfortunate that they live in those little tight corners that don't have water, but they're human beings just like us, and their families deserve good, clean drinking water, and this is coming up. And it's an estimate of $1 million to serve these areas. That's all I have here.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, property.
Yes, Building and Property Committee met this morning, 8:45. The only item on the agenda was the water leaks at the Barren River Health Department. We tried to fix this back a couple of years ago and it didn't work. So I looked at some ways of having a guarantee. So I contacted some of the waterproofing foundation repair companies, got 3 estimates. First estimate was from USS. And what they actually do is go in and make a trench. A lot of you are familiar with it, and any water coming in. Some of these old buildings, that's the only way to ever fix water seeping in through the foundation. This does have a lifetime guarantee. What they actually do is everything goes to a sub pump, then it's pumped outside. USS estimate was 11,065. B drive was 11,500, and AFS, which Jeff was with me. Some of these was probably the most impressive people that we talked to. Their bid was $7,134.53. My motion is to accept AFS's bid. We are getting help from the health department for this bill. Actually, it has to go through the court, but actually health department funds are going to pay this bill.
Can we have a motion?
Second.
We have a second by Mr. Botts. Questions? That's a AFS for $7,134.53.
Yes, and I just want to add that I wanted to go ahead and get this passed, but we are going to have a little more expense because we're going to have to go in and rip the tile up so far out in the wall up. But I want to go ahead and get this approved so we can get on the list. So we don't have to wait so long because it could be a couple month waiting list.
Any questions? All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed?
And just one other thing, still waiting. I've only got one estimate Dennis did on the porch roof for the courthouse. So we've got something that needs to be replaced, and we've been working on just having a hard time getting estimates. We've got one, still waiting on a couple more.
Thank you. Okay, new business, the local
Hey.
government,
Judge, I still
Yeah.
got some on this equipment.
what's that?
The mowing tractor.
Yeah.
And you Holland we're having trouble with.
Yeah, we need to put that back in committee,
Oh, do
because I
you?
think Susan's got some new numbers on trade-ins and things like that, and I don't believe we're ready to take action on that.
Okay, thank you.
Local government economic assistance for county road aid proposed hearing for the 22-23. We advertised that. And that reads the following: the public hearing be held, Barren County Fiscal Court Chambers, Barren County Government Center, 117 North Public Square, Glasgow, Kentucky, Tuesday, April the 19th, 9 a.m. for the purpose of obtaining citizen comments regarding the possible uses of the county road aid, which is known as the CRA, local government assistance, economic assistance, the LGEA funds. All interested persons in Barren County are invited to hear the submit verbal or written comments on possible uses for each of these funds. Any person who cannot submit written comments or attend the public hearing but wish to submit comments should call the office by Monday, April the 18th, so the arrangements can be secured. We have no comments that came in. But we do need a motion. Okay.
Need a motion?
No. Anyone here today have any comments in the room? Okay. Authorized grant application for high school cemetery, Master Coomer.
Yes, we had a tornado through high school on January 1st. We weren't declared an emergency as some of the other areas, I mean, a disaster area, as some of the other areas of Barren County were with the earlier tornado. We had several headstones that were turned over, that we've been out some money getting replaced and trees cut. I've actually applied for a grant to help with those costs. And all I'm asking the court is to be a go-through at no cost to the taxpayers for that grant, because everything has to go through the court.
I'll make a motion.
I make that motion.
Okay, I'll second that. Questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed. Acknowledge receipt for the 22-23 fiscal year budget, Barren County Extension District Board. I need a motion for that.
Motion?
Bott.
Second.
Second, Master Bowman. Chris Schalk is here if you have any questions. If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed. Acknowledge receipt of proposed 22-23 fiscal year budget. And I will note that we are having a special fiscal court meeting on April the 26th to discuss.
Motion?
Motion by Botts,
Second.
second by Houchins. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, set monthly compensations for elected officials and deputies for KRS 64.530 effective January 2023. You should have a copy of that. So today,
Where's that at?
Elected official.
should look like this right here.
Okay, hang on then.
So this is done only in election years. So by May 1st, we have to have this in. Now, we can talk about it today or we can talk about it next week. But here's what you're deciding on. The county attorney secretary, the coroner deputies, the magistrates, and finance clerk. Jenny has built in a 3%, 5%, and 7% increase in those salaries. But again, it's gonna be up to the court whether we raise those or not. So you can either take action today, or you can, talk about it in the court meeting next week.
When was the last time the mattress had a raise?
It'd be 20 years.
Been a long time.
Any action of the court?
Yeah, I think that, so I'm not going to run again, everybody's aware of that. But I think for what we do, what the magistrates do, I don't think they get paid here. They bring more you pay them, higher quality candidates you want to get. So, you know, everything's gone up. You can't expect anybody to do now what they did 20 years. So I don't know if anybody wants to talk about it. I just throw that out there. But yeah, I'm all for giving the magistrates. Everybody else costs of living raise, if nothing else.
So is this one or all?
Now you can do individuals, like magistrates can give themselves a raise, or you can give county attorney secretary a raise, or you can choose to do nothing, or you can choose to do all.
Well, if this was brought up with our special meeting, then what, for example, first one there, the county attorney, wouldn't that, she be allowed to speak as to her employees there?
If you so desire. One way or the other, we have to have it complete by May 1st. Hold on. Any action of this board today?
I say we just discuss these at the special call meeting. Me too.
Okay, Mr. Hawks, if you'll approach the mic, I will take your comment now.
I'm Jody Hawks. Some of you know me, some of you don't. What happened to selfless service to your community? I understand you need a little money to go do your job. Most of you got a full-time job, some of you retired. I get it. But you know what? It don't take just a few minutes to drive your area. I did it. I did it for this community. I did it for this county. Sometimes it just takes a little bit. Dig down and do it for the people of the county. Think about it.
Thank you for your comment. Okay, we'll move on to next week. We'll take that up next week. Approved payment of claims as presented.
Motion.
Motion Riddle,
Second.
second by Houchins. Questions?
Is anybody representing the corner? Is the corner here? I just had a question about a transfer board. You're all,
You're a deputy. Yeah. Garland's a deputy, so
Okay.
maybe he can
I had
answer.
a question about the transport to Louisville. I was thinking usually the coroner, one of the deputies did that, and I noticed we had a bill for someone else doing it. I was just wondering the reason for that.
Generally, we go to the corner thing. I don't know the situation. The only option, is maybe he was already on one.
Can a deputy do that too? One of the deputies?
The deputies can transport to Louisville, but Tim has the van a lot of times, so let's say he's at one end of the county on call and then we have another one, we would have to get the actual vehicle to do it. Like this week, he's out of town, so he's left us the keys and the van's parked here at the parking structure. So yes, we can, short answer.
Any other questions on the claims? Or you want to pass that on through?
Yeah.
Pass it. Okay. Any other questions? All All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Approve transfer of funds.
Make that motion.
Mr. Coomer,
Second.
Mr. Bowman's questions. All in favor, say aye. All opposed? Approve transfer, budget adjustment, excuse me.
So motion.
Bott, second by Coomer, questions. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Approve monthly financial statement, March 2022, subject to audit.
So moved.
Mr. Houchins,
Second.
Mr. Coomer. Questions down here?
No question.
Okay, all in favor, say aye. All opposed? Approve official settlements, March 2022, subject to audit, county attorney, county clerk, and the sheriff.
So moved.
Mr. Bowman,
Second.
second by Mr. Houchins, questions. All in favor, say aye. All opposed? Acknowledge the receipt and approve personnel actions. Need a motion?
I make a motion.
We have a motion, Master Riddle,
Second.
second Master Houchins, questions. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Approve the quarterly financial ending 3/30/22, subject to audit. That's what we added to the first.
Could you repeat that?
Yes, that is the quarterly financial ending March 30th of 2022. And that is subject to audit.
Motion.
Watts,
Second.
Houchins. All in favor, say aye. All opposed? And then the flex agreement with KYTC, which we added at the first.
Make that motion.
We have a motion by Master Coomer, second Master Bowman. Susan, what was that amount? Roughly 360,000? Gotcha. I'm sorry. 324,229. All in favor, say aye. All opposed? We're gonna take a quick break and we'll come back. Motion to adjourn this meeting.
So moved.
Bowman,